There he is, Geroy Simon of the BC Lions. How you doing, Geroy?
I'm doing well. How's it going?
Good. We got you. We got you. Now, you're a guy that can talk NFL, NCAA, CFL, all of it, minorities. So we got a lot to get with you this morning. So let me just first say, how are you in your life right now? What's up in the world of Geroy Simon?
Life is good. I mean, other than, being out on the road, or right now we would be in training camp. Life is good. I'm at home. I'm with my family. I get to spend a lot more time with my kids that I normally wouldn't to get to spend. I get to, cook for them every day. It's been, I'm making the best out of a bad situation, something that, I obviously can't control, and, just making the best of it.
I mean, it's day 3 of the training camp postponement here, and I'm starting to hear from the players, just seeing it on Twitter, their frustration and so forth. Well, it's new to them, Geroy, as I said earlier, but it's not new to everybody else. It's been 2 months of this. What are you sensing from your guys as they're not in camp right now?
Well, I think everybody just wants to get to work. I think everybody wants to, to get to, doing what we normally do, and that's, these guys have been training and preparing for 6-7 months. Some of these guys hadn't played in over a year, because a lot of times these guys have sat out and waiting for the next opportunity before CFL comes. So guys are just antsy. Guys are just ready to get to training camp and get going with the season.
For you, with a guy with a long history in the CFL and given your role, I mean, you're probably going to be the next general manager hired in this league, no matter where that it is. When you hear the talk of the future and that there might not be one, what does that do to you?
I mean, it's kind of concerning. I mean, obviously, with there's uncertainty with the league and sports in general, but more importantly, there's uncertainty with the future of the CFL. So, again, we've worked and we've put in a lot of time into this, and want to see it, prosper and into the future, and this comes along. So you're kind of, you just got to figure out what.
Right. Well, there's only so much that you can do. You just continue to do your thing. By the way, I don't even know what to say on that other than, David Braley's comments that there might not be a season. I got to think, Geroy, you're like everybody else. You're just sitting here day by day waiting to hear something. You don't know anything more than anybody else. I mean, your president, Rick Lawlisher, said that there's some optimism to play a shortened season in September. I mean, where do you fall on that? Do you think that you're going to be on the field?
Yeah, I mean, but we just got to stay positive. Look to try to build a roster in the hopes that we have the opportunity, we will get in the field.
Now, I'm going to switch to the NFL here. You spent 97 with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think you told me you were in Kansas City for a while. Were you not? I know in your down, those are all your buddies. You're scouting the NFL camps. The Rooney Rule and the tweak that was announced over the weekend with you now have to hire or interview 2 minorities for a head coaching job. And if you do hire a black head coach or a minority, you get moved up, right?
That's the proposal.
That's the proposal. Where do you stand, Geroy, on the Rooney Rule? Because I just sit here and say, I can't have an opinion on it. I'm a white guy. I don't know how the minorities feel about it. So how do you feel about it?
Well, I think the is going in the right direction, but execution isn't. I think that guys don't want to be a token. Guys don't want to be the token hire. They don't want to be hired just for an extra draft pick or a different spot in the draft. I think when guys want to get hired on their work, and their preparation and all that. So I think that is the wrong. They're taking the wrong.
Let's just start from the beginning on the Rooney Rule and your thoughts on the proposed tweaks and the fact that it's in existence at all.
Yeah, I think the Rooney Rule has the right intention because a lot of guys wouldn't get interviews or wouldn't get put in a position to have the opportunity. Mike Tomlin probably wouldn't have had the opportunity if it weren't for the Rooney Rule. And you see the success that he's had. But as far as moving up in the draft and extra draft picks or whatever, I think those are based on guys are going to get hired based on this rule, and they'll be seen as a token hire or someone who wasn't deserving, other than being a person of color. So I think their intent is right. I just think the execution of performance isn't going to be in the right done in the right way.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I know it's a touchy subject, but you and I are tight enough that we can talk about this. I mean, in the CFL, almost half the coaches are minorities. In the NFL, I think it's 3 or 4, like there are hardly any. Is it an issue in the NFL, and I just don't know about it?
I think it is. I mean, I think it guys hire who they're friends with, how they hire who they're buddies with, and who they're comfortable with. And I think a lot of times people of color, we don't have those relationships. So we gotta, a lot of times we have to start from the bottom and work our way up, which is fine, because if you're given the opportunity. But a lot of times guys aren't given the opportunity because they don't know the right people. Half the time that's what it is. It's who you know. It's not really what you know.
Right, and because there's not minorities in the positions of people hiring, that's what's caused it. I'm getting you now, but that's also kind of the difference between Canada and America, right?
Yeah, I think that the beautiful thing in the CFL is if you're if you have talent and you work your butt off, you'll get the opportunity. You look at a guy like Ed Hervey. He started as an area scout, and now he's been a GM for two different teams. So if you have the ability and you put in the work, you're going to get an opportunity when it comes in the CFL.
Well, and here's another one too, by the way. Your boy Brian Warishin from the Lions Den podcast says, I've always found the Rooney Rule odd. You must interview a person of minority, but you're not required to hire them. But Geroy, you would get this. Maybe you bring in a guy that you didn't know, but you're interviewing him because of the Rooney Rule, and he blows your socks off. He's by far the best guy, and you got to give him the job. That's probably what the NFL is aiming for, I would think.
Exactly, and that's what I was referring to with the Mike Tomlin. He, when you look back at he wasn't the top guy. He wasn't even a guy on the radar. He was a DB coach, I think. He wasn't a coordinator. He wasn't a hot name. But once he got in front of the Pittsburgh Brass, they gave him the opportunity, and I know that because I was one, I'm friends with Mike Tomlin, and two, I'm a big Steelers fan. So when he was hired, he wasn't a hot name. He wasn't a hot commodity, but the Rooney Rule gave him the opportunity, and he blew him away. And you see where they're at now.
Other things, Geroy, before I let you go, and again, I appreciate your patience in getting this all figured out. I found it very interesting, that Angus Reid poll that came out about 10 days ago that said the CFL is still more popular in BC than the NFL by quite a good margin. The reason I was surprised is you hear the opposite. But here's a very reputable poll, Angus Reid, based out in your area, I believe, that said that. Surprised to you or not?
Well, I think there are fans for both leagues. But I think I don't know. I know that our fan support is strong, and that's something that we got to rely on the people that love us, and you can be fans for both leagues, but I think if you're Canadian, you should support your own before you support anybody else. So I don't know. I just people have their own opinions, and they like what they like, and some people like other things because it seems like it's bigger and better, but I know what our game brings, and I know, the opportunities that obviously it's given me. So I'm gonna stick here.
What a novel concept! Football is football, and you can cheer for both. What a shock! Let's make a meme out of that. Maybe if Geroy says it, people will listen, Clark. By the way, from our viewers, Lauren Smith says, can you ask Geroy about targeting Jordan Williams in the draft? Did he push to trade up to the number 1 pick? There's an actual football question. Let's get it, Geroy.
I actually, the scenario came up in our talks, but I had nothing to do with it. I didn't, I didn't know that it was happening. I knew that it was a possibility, but when the time came and said, we're going to do it, I was kind of shocked as everybody. But we had gone through that scenario leading up to the draft to say what we would do if we had the number 1 pick, and he was our guy.
What do you think of him from what you see on film, and would he have a legitimate shot at starting, do you think, once this all gets rectified?
Yeah, I mean, he's a starter at Eastern Carolina. I can't say he's a big guy, but he's physical, he's fast, extremely fast, and he played at a high level. He's not a guy that's just coming out of university. And I think he will have a true opportunity to start right away. I mean, he was in Ottawa last year, and he was going to be signed as an American. So now that he has his Canadian status, I think he has a very good shot to be our starting linebacker. When we get back to playing football.
This is the kind of talk that gets people excited to get back on the field. So I appreciate that. One more. Jason in Red Deer writes in and says, "What's Geroy's most memorable catch?" You got one, Geroy?
Well, I can't say that I have one, but I have a few. Obviously, the first touchdown in Saskatchewan in the Grey Cup. I have a touchdown catch on Labor Day, corner route. I have obviously the one that broke the record, the Mill Steagles record. The most receptions another corner route in BC Place. So I have a bunch of different ones. I can't say that one is more favorite than the others, but there's when you have over 1,000, you got a lot to pick from.
And by the way, what year was it, Geroy? Last one. Sorry, I just don't want to hang up with you, but I think it was 06. You tell me if I'm wrong. Riders, Lions in BC Place, 55,000 fans. I'm sitting there going, if this is what the NFL's like, sign me up. This is unbelievable. And Spurgeon Wynn hit you on a bomb, I want to say 70-plus yards. It was like a game winner. Do you remember that catch?
Yeah, that was 2004. That was to win the West for us to win, to host the Western Final in BC against Saskatchewan. It was another corner route. He threw it into double coverage. It was like a 30-yard play to win the game. So that was 2004 in BC Place.
You know what? And you're right. It was a regular season game, and we were back there 2 weeks later for another 55,000 people showing up. Do you think we could ever get back to that again?
I think we can. I think, if we market the league the right way, I think, we got to, bring a few different things to the table. We got to get the younger crowd coming back to Lions games, and the CFL for that matter. Get them excited early about the CFL. Get them excited. Get their families, get their whole families out. But I'm not a marketing expert, but I think we can definitely get back to 55,000 fans in BC Place and across the league.
Well, I think there's a lot of things that you can do for this league, Geroy. I appreciate the time, the patience. As always, stay safe, and let's do it again soon.
For sure, anytime.
All right, the great Geroy Simon joining us on the line from Vancouver.
You're watching Rod Pedersen On Demand. For more of The Rod Pedersen Show, visit rodpedersen.com or follow Rod Pedersen on social media.